On December 16th of 1944, German forces mounted a huge surprise attack on American forces in Belgium in an attempt to split the Allied armies.
While initially outnumbered and outgunned, the Allied troops eventually regained the ground as conditions improved and supplies were replenished.
Ultimately, the Allies outlasted the Germans, who were running low on fuel and manpower.
It was the single costliest battle ever fought by the US Army, yielding over 100,000 casualties.
And this is their story. Yeah, we're joking. This is Hollywood's version.
Battle of the Bulge.
Made in 1965, Battle of the Bulge, based off the battle of the same name, presents a decent story, albeit a flawed one.
The story follows a colonel who suspects that the Germans will be launching a major counteroffensive against the troops in Ardennes Forest, a normally quiet area.
Sure enough, the Germans, led by Colonel Hessler, eventually do attack the Americans, and the Battle of the Bulge begins.
The story is decent enough, although the characters are forgettable.
Yeah, I don't even remember their names. Aside from Hessler, who's played by Robert Shaw. The story is also rather flawed in that it assumes that the entire Battle of the Bulge is dependent on this 50-hour tank attack, when in reality the battle lasted over a month. Now, of course, all these things can be forgiven. It's not a documentary, it's a movie. Changing things like these for dramatic convenience is just to be expected. The tanks used were also inaccurate, especially those used to represent the American Sherman tanks.
To be fair, by 1965, most Shermans had been thrown out and the remaining German tanks had been placed in museums.
However, they do a good job conveying how much more powerful the German tanks were than the Americans.
The new 70-ton King Tiger tank. It has 2.5 times the firepower and double the armor of the American tanks.
The battle scenes themselves are a mixed bag. The first tank attack in the forest was done pretty well. It looked accurate and was honestly pretty damn epic.
The subsequent battles, on the other hand...
What the hell?
Wow, that's the sunniest Belgian winter I've ever seen.
You guys are aware that some American troops froze to death because of the weather, right? I was willing to forgive some of the issues earlier, but this is huge! It was the weather that made the Battle of the Bulge what it was! The overcast weather is what protected the German tanks from the United States Air Force. Where's all the snow? This doesn't look like a Belgian winter, it looks like the set for a spaghetti western. I've seen stormtroopers more accurate than this! And where's Godzilla when you need him? Yeah, this movie does lose serious points for historical inaccuracy. In fact, upon seeing this film, former President Dwight Eisenhower came out of retirement just to personally state how much he hated this movie. But is it really that bad?
While its inaccuracy can be annoying and its characters rather unmemorable, it's far from a horrible movie. The writing is decent, and the first battle was well executed.
As a whole, I'd say we give the movie a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. C.
Alright.
Dinkleberries.
Oh, we can't have this, like, in the shot. The story is also rather flawed in that it assumes that the entire Battle of the Bulge is dependent on this 50-hour tank attack, when in reality the battle lasted over a month.
Although, there are rather...
You started while I was still looking at that thing.
Are you serious? Oh my god. Okay, we can cut that out later.
Yeah. Okay. The tanks used were also inaccurate, especially those used to represent the American Sherman tanks. However, they do a good job conveying how much more powerful the German tanks were than the Americans.